It's the time to get down.
Anymore. And how are you going to you supposed to come up on some guy at full speed and then put your shoulder, how you going to leverage between hitting him with your shoulder and helmet?
Right.
You're going to make it so you're going to end up hitting somebody helmet to helmet. I don't know how you teach them how to tackle.
It's hard.
They should redesign the helmets and everything, because I told you where the helmets and the shoulder pads are fixed.
Yeah.
Fused each other to help prevent some of the. They got to redesign the football uniform so they all look like Iron Man.
Yeah, or just get surrogates.
Yeah, get surrogates. But that's what because I don't know how you do it, you guys. But I think part of it is no one knows how to play defense. Because how you going to teach them how to tackle?
Right.
They used to teach us. A lot of us played football. They taught you to put your nose on their numbers.
Yeah,
put your nose on their numbers here.
But the rules now have been in such a way to take them away from doing all this impact. And I'm going, somebody's going to be flying through and trying to hit somebody on the smackdown. Although they're protecting, I think they're still doing a good job because the athleticism of these athletes, unbelievably, way better than 20,
That's
25,
why you
30
can't,
years
which
ago.
is also Vic. That's why you also can't play this.
I know.
you didn't have guys that were 250 pounds running 4'9", 4'8".
Right.
So now you got huge mass bodies
Right.
that are all steroided out and muscular.
That's what I'm
hitting
saying.
each other with huge amounts of impact and force. And even though the equipment is improved, it ain't improved that much.
But they're still doing a good job because you still, for the sake of it, see that with the drive of steroids, enhanced training, weightlifting, all these things that they still at a certain level are performing without those massive injuries that are life threatening. But I agree with this: since we really don't follow and tag the athletes post career, you really don't get the data of what happens in long term as much.
No. But no, you don't get it, but they got it.
Yes.
It's been studied, and they know that's why they're doing all this, because the data. What happens is the NFL knows that on the long term, Vic, they are potentially subject to suits like any employer.
Right.
And imagine if you just say that you're an employer putting your employees to do X number of tasks which directly affect their well-being.
Right.
So you ultimately could be held liable for that, and that's the issue.
Yeah.
No, here's my prediction. For football, it's like boxing. The sport could essentially disappear.
Right.
Because they're too traumatic to people. Boxing, the goal is to give the other guy a concussion.
Right.
When you knock somebody out, that's a concussion.
Right.
So, my prediction is that football has to at least change. If they were to spend, $15,000 per player for armament and fuse that helmet to the shoulder pads in a way that prevents hyperextension or hyperflexion injuries, which is either where you bend your neck, chin down real far, and then hit you, boom, bending your neck way down.
Right.
Or you have a hyperextension where it's this way, you bend your head way back.
Right.
By fusing that, in those days, they used to have these little pieces that could go around your neck. But by fusing the helmet to the shoulder pads and have it connect to the body in a different way, you then allow for more stability. And it could be lightweight using some of these plastic polymers. Same thing that goes for the knee. Imagine you guys, they should be able to make a knee brace now using these lightweight plastics that are very movable and flexible that allow the knee to flex to just a certain point at which they become more rigid.
Right.
So, and the ability of the materials to have what they call a memory.
Right.
I mean, they flex to a certain part. And then, so they should be able right now today to make super knee braces, super helmets, and Vic, you get away from that. But without that, I think you're going to look at the day where football disappears.
Yeah.
Because it's too injury. There's too much trauma associated just with the way you have the game designed.
Yeah, they may evolve the game to it has other restrictive behaviors as they've done so far, and the game can change, but it'll be like any other sport. What we'll be looking at a sport to say what sport has started and is endemic to our culture and society that has now it's gone and it's done. Done, and you don't even have it anymore. And I thought
like
boxing,
gladiator.
I thought boxing. Yeah,
boxing is going to go quickly. Yeah. It's like gladiator sports.
Right.
You can't have a sport where your goal is to maim the other person.
Right.
And boxing specifically does that.
Right.
You know what, Vic? What if we had wonderful paintball competitions with NFL players in stadiums. That's all violent. But you know what I'm saying?
A little paint on your back ain't gonna work.
Well, I'm imagining if you have guys who can run and jump and dive and do acrobatics and all this kind of stuff. But but see, there's a need for violence. The reason I said that, you're gonna have. I don't know how you get out of the contact element of modern football. They're too big and too strong and too fast. How do you keep them from colliding without having that be a life-threatening thing? I don't know.
Yeah, I think the part that we're going to have to accept society right now, if you look back in 40, 50 years ago, the idea that people would bungee jump for a sport. I'm going down at the speed of about 130 miles an hour to threaten my life with the cement and the ground, and that's a sport. So I think the whole thing of thrill seeking is just part of our culture. So whether it's not football, it's going to be something else. It's just
well, that gets back to the weekly quote, which once again I remind you: never underestimate the power of stupid people in large groups.
That's it. That's
okay.
It. That's
so
it.
Those of you who want to go bungee jumping, lighting, flight, farts, whatever you do, just go do that. But some of you are going to die.
Right. No, it is. It's just the way. It's the way our society works.
Some of you are going to die.
Yeah, it's going to happen. All right. So here's the thing. First of all, I wanted to acknowledge which teams I thought were going down the winning ways and turning the winning corner, and we'll just acknowledge them because I have restricted on time here. Pittsburgh Steelers. Ben Roethlisberger is back. That puts them back up there close to being number one. You got Philadelphia Eagles.
Wonderful. So you got Roethlisberger.
Yeah, but you know what it is? You know, everybody knows.
Almost 300 yards and 3 TDs. That's in other words, it was... Okay, but a lot of us people thought he was going to come back bad, Vic. A lot of people did think he was going to come back rusty bad. So we should at least acknowledge that he did. That was a good start.
I really never even thought that. I really said this guy historically, whenever he's done anything, from his motorcycle incidents, from all the stuff he's done, I said he steps on the field no matter what the issue is, and he starts off like
That's
I left
Brett,
off.
So Brett Favre the same way?
Yeah.
Okay.
He starts off and ends the same way.
They were worried about Brett.
Yeah. I mean, I could worry about Brett. He needs a motor of start me up and then I get flowing. Ben just walks in. He just goes, I play like street. Let's just start this right now. And to me, that he has that attitude. And now Pittsburgh is probably going to be ranked number one in the power rankings. But New York Jets is going to threaten that. We got Philadelphia Eagles because of the Vic situation. Everybody's dealing with why he was not on the field and told to stay off the field because of the Atlanta game.
He was having a stalker.
You're wrong.
It's the truth.
You're wrong.
They were stalking him.
You're wrong. It
was he wanted to protect it was.
You know what? They were protecting Cobb. They was protecting him. Because they didn't want it. You know that.
Protecting Cobb.
Yeah. Because, first of all, here it is.
How they protected Cobb?
First of all, I know this was going to happen. You have Vic on the field. You don't think the chance would have said to play Vic? Everybody, the crowd would have been under. Let's get Vic to play. Something would have happened to energize the crowd.
You're going to tell the crowd no.
You know what? You have. When's the last time you've been to a football game?
I turn to the crowd and say, "Shut up, crowd."
When's the last time?
Who runs this, Mac? We would tell the crowd. We get the crowd.
When's the last time you've been to a game? Live game. I
went to see him wrestle. I saw some nude girls wrestling.
See, I told you. All right,
that's a game. They was wrestling. I saw these new girls wrestling. Okay. I saw them.
Wait. Okay, let me keep going. New York. Here's another. New York Giants keep winning their ways because they're leading their division, or at least tied. San Francisco got their first win. Thank God for Mike Singletary. New York Jets are doing what they call we win. We win. Now, teams unable to tell who's driving.
Miami won.
Did you see that? Did you see that little graphic? That
said
about with teams. I know Miami to me is still a good enough team that even if they lose or win, they're really there to go like, okay, it's not a big deal. You lose, you win. You're not expected to dominate. So I didn't even put them in because it's just one of those things where they're not great. They don't have names. So even if you follow it, they don't have that commercial name.
Only because, they're not a contender. They are a contender this year, but really everybody knows this is about next year or the year after.
That's what I'm saying.
There's no question they are on a contending.
Right.
Parcells, you can see his wisdom unveiled on this team.
Right.
So it's relevant. None of us expect them really to go all the way this year, but we expect them to have an impact. and make a presence that they exert next year.
Yeah, that's why I said it's not like San Francisco where they said, whoa,
No.
this talent, what happened? Miami, even if they lose 2 or 3 games in a row, it won't be like it's disastrous because they really didn't expect them to do a whole lot. They expected them to compete, like you said, Mario. But now, this is the part that gets me. Teams unable to tell who's driving. Now, Mario, pick the 3 teams in your mind who can't tell where they're driving, where they're going. I put that little cat up there because the cat is the animal. Read that quote. Can you see that quote that is there, man? I'll do it
Did
for
I
you.
just hit that dog?
Okay, now isn't that an example of somebody driving? Remember the quote. We don't care who's on. We don't care where we're going on the bus. All we want to do is get the right people on the bus. Here's a situation. Which teams you think they need to let a lot of people off the bus? Pick your 3 teams.
San Francisco.
Oh, I knew you was going to say. Oh, number 2. Give me a number 2 team.
See, some of them, I don't know if that's the issue. Sometimes it's just they don't want to spend the money.
Well, that's
Okay.
That goes along with
Buffalo, maybe.
okay. They don't know where they're going, right?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know where Buffalo's going.
Oakland.
Oh, I know where they're going.
Where?
Tank. It's called early death, grave. There is no question. Oh, Oakland is no question. That's why I didn't include them. Oh, they're just bad.
Right.
Next.
Right. See, okay. So since we know those
Carolina, I think Carolina has way more chance than Oakland.
All right. All right. What
How's
team?
that?
I give you this then. What team was the upset team of the week? If you can go through your memory banks, there was a team that got upset this week.
Indianapolis got upset.
Nope, they beat Washington.
Oh, that's right. No. Who did Miami beat?
There's a team that got upset. It's so obvious. It's real. When I tell you, you're gonna say, "Oh," because it wasn't even highlighted as much.
Thank you for using Blog Talk Radio.
You see what happened
New
to our
England-
radio
New
show?
England
You see-
lost.
No, they won. They beat Baltimore.
Oh, okay.
St. Louis defeated the San Diego Chargers.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
I watched some of that.
That's an upset.
Yeah, it was because, only because San Diego's so much better on paper than they are in real life.
Right.
Because on paper they're the number 1 offense, number 2 defense, I think.
Yep.
Something, and we all know they're not that good.
That's right. There you go. All right.
How's that? We all know. Everyone knows they're not that good.
Okay.
Nor will they be looking that good in the playoffs either. Right? So they can be why don't they be number 1 in offense, defense, and special teams?
Well-
They still ain't going nowhere.
Well, let's look at it this way. Bottom line is, I think they reached their peak a couple of years ago when they had all their players there. The linebackers, I call them the linebackers from hell, the trio. They were gangster, and then they went up against, I believe, New England along that pathway. And unfortunately, they were rated and predicted to actually go to the Super Bowl. It didn't happen. And there were some questions about the former coach right before then. Schottenheimer, I guess his name was. I'm not sure. I can't remember.
Well,
But
they still
that was-
managed with all of that to be the number 2 defense and get rid of Sean Merriman.
Yeah, and reason why you look at his performance over the last 3 years, they actually did a story on him about how he went from being the example of a linebacker who was basically, going
Lights
into
out was his nickname.
Yeah, he was performing at such a level, and because of the steroid thing and some other things, unfortunately,
Tequila.
Yeah, I knew you was gonna say that.
Tequila
always a
brought
woman.
him down.
Yeah, it wasn't that bad, man.
Evil.
Okay, here we go, you guys. My favorite section is called "Do You Believe?" and I'm gonna go to the graphic that was supplied to me by an anonymous graphic artist. Okay, it says "Quiet Diplomacy." Do you believe too many sports are like politics, always having too much shoved up the dark side?
You could never have too much, Vic. Bigger things have come out than what's going in.
You know what? All right,
There's always room for one more beeper or light bulb.
Okay. I'm gonna keep this graphic up here because to me it reminds me of what you used to do with your politics all the time. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Never can get enough light bulbs in there.
Okay, here we go. Do you believe we're so excited about the Yankee Rangers Phillies Giants playoff series winning one?